Alright, we're back with another Civ 5 video. This time we're going to go over citizen management and worker micro. So this is how to get the most out of your cities once they are planted. So first off, citizen management is very important. The amount of citizens you have is the population of your city, so here in our cap we have 1. And then if you, on the right side, you click citizen management, you can see what the citizen is doing. So they're working the wheat, which is what you would want, and that's on default focus. So default focus, it'll work the tile with the most yield. So if we had this ivory, it would be working this instead because it has 4 yield instead of 3. So if you're going to be not really care about this and just want to click choose production and then click next turn, then probably just leave it on default. If you're trying a little bit harder, you can switch between food and production. So food when you're trying to grow, and then production when you're at war or building a wonder or building settlers. Yeah, but you can go deeper than that. So if you want to really get the most out of every city, leave it on production focus and lock in your tiles. So no matter what happens, that wheat will be worked. The reason why production focus is better than food focus is every time your city grows, you'll get the production the same turn. So say if we had this hill here with 2 production and we grew from 1 population to 2 population, the same turn we grow, we're going to get this 2 production applied to our scout. In this case it wouldn't speed it up any, but it's still a lot of production through the entire game. So when you're managing your city, you need to know what you're going for. So if we were trying to grow, just to give you the situation, we're at turn 13. We got to 3 pop. We got a little bit scouted. We have 3 happiness. So you would think, what do we want to do? Do we want to grow to 4 pop, or do we want to build settlers? So we're going to build settlers. So then you want to adjust your tiles based on that. So the food that we're working on these wheat is not going to do anything for us. So if we click settler, you can see 8 turns. And then if we start clicking this 2 production tile, it's down to 7 turns. And each unemployed citizen is 1 production, so it's basically the same as a 1 production tile. So you say, why wouldn't you have them unemployed? Well, on this ivory tile you can get 1 production and 2 gold, so you're up 2 gold from where you were before. We also have 87 gold, so we're going to buy another 2 production tile. And on strategic balance, the map setting, one of these tiles is likely going to be our iron, maybe this one too, but we also could buy that if we need to. May as well. So instead of our settler being 8 turns, it's 6 turns, so that's a huge difference. But then once we're done building this settler, our city will start to starve unless we build another one. Another thing to mention is when you're building settlers, you want to chop down your forests to give lump sum production to get your settlers out quicker. In this game I chose Desert Faith, so the sooner we get the settler out into the desert, the sooner we're going to be getting faith for a religion. So hopefully we get one. It's not, the other options were sun god or camp food, but I think this will end up being the best. So yeah. So we can see our settlers at 4 turns. Chop. Click on it, we're down to 3 turns. So from that 8 turns, it's going to end up being 5 turns. So everything is getting quicker because of how we're managing our citizens. And then we need to get trapping to improve our ivory to get happiness. And now we can see it's 6 turns away. And this is another thing I want to touch on in the video is worker management. So here we have our worker, and say we're trying to get down to this ivory, and we know it's going to be 1, 2 turns to get there, and trapping's 6 turns away. So maybe we want to improve another tile. So let's say we're going to have a granary, so we're going to want to improve this wheat for do this wheat and then this ivory. So what you can do, instead of just moving your entire movement to the wheat and then starting on turn 17 to improve it, you can move 1 to the horse, improve it, use both moves, and then turn 17 move into the wheat and start improving it. So you're gaining 1 turn of improvement on the horse rather than just covering the entire 2 moves, if that makes sense. So now you can see on turn 17 we're still getting to improve the wheat. So now we're done building settlers. So as you can see, we're going to starve, so we need to reset our tiles. So if you reset tiles, it'll make it so you don't starve even on production focus. But like I said, you do want to lock in your tiles. So we don't have enough improved here. Generally, you want all your citizens to be working improved tiles, and that's normally the only reason you wouldn't is early game because you're still improving luxuries first. Or you don't have enough workers to improve the tiles as fast as you're growing, basically. Like I said earlier, you want to know what you want your cities to do right now. So we have 3 happiness, so obviously we want to grow until we have 0 happiness and then click avoid growth. So right now we want to be working food in every city. So this in this city we just grew to Solomon's Mines, which is a natural wonder, so we'll probably work that just because it's really good production. And it is growing, but pretty slowly, so maybe we'll send this city a caravan. That might be a good candidate. So this city where we're working all our food, and we can see that we locked this one earlier, but then we grew to this tile, so we want to be working this wheat because it's more food. So you really got to be on top of stuff like that, whereas if you were on default focus and just reset tiles, you would have been working the same ones anyway, but if you were on production focus, you would be working these 2, and then you wouldn't be growing nearly as quickly. So you'd be growing in 9 turns instead of 2. So if you're not going to be on top of microing it, I think that's a good example of why you should be on default focus, which isn't to say that you can't lock in your good tiles if you're on default focus either. You can just say, oh, these are the best ones, and then lock them in and be like, oh, I need to grow more, and then lock in a food tile where it wouldn't have been otherwise. You just won't get the production focus production from the same turn that you grow throughout the game. Okay, so we made a mistake and we went unhappy. So if you click this button, avoid growth, your cities won't grow. They'll just stay on 1 turn until growth. Like, they'll still collect food. So in that case, when you're avoiding growth, you should probably go on production focus and reset tiles, because there's no point in collecting food once you're at 1 turn till growth, because you're just gonna basically you're wasting your citizens. But you don't want to grow into unhappiness. You're better to be at 0 happiness than 1 unhappiness, even though you won't have the yields of the citizen that put you unhappy. It's still better to be happy. Another thing your citizens can do, other than work tiles, is work specialist slots. So some buildings, when you build them, they have a place for a citizen to go. So this University and Writers Guild, they have, you can put a citizen in there, which will give you 3 science and 3 great scientist points. So great people are earned per city. They have a counter, so this great scientist in Turfan will be done in 53 turns, and they're getting 1 point. From Oracle. And then if you work the university slot, that'll be 7 points per turn. So now you can see 8 turns remaining for a great scientist. Each great scientist, great merchant, or great engineer you get increases the cost of the next one. So that's why it's good to only work scientist slots rather than merchant slots, because scientists are much better than merchants. And engineers you can purchase with the tradition finisher with faith, so you can buy engineers as you need them rather than just getting them and making your great scientists more expensive and therefore getting less of them throughout the game. So engineers, scientists, and merchants are on one timer, and then writers, artists, and musicians are on the same timer. For writers and artists, I would say just do both, and don't worry about which is better, and don't work musician slots unless you're going for culture victory. Specialist slots are really good, especially if you go freedom, and especially with this rationalism policy. So that's another thing why rationalism is so good. Like, say you have 4 cities, so you have 8 scientist slots. Instead of getting 24 science, you're gonna get 40 science per turn. So it's a huge increase, and then science for your artist slots as well. Generally, you want to only work the slots when your population can afford it. So you really want, when you build your university, you should have a population of 10 or more. Like, even this Turfan here, we have our 2 scientist slots, but now we're not growing for 19 turns. I guess we're unhappy a little bit, but I would only unwork a 3 yield tile to work a scientist slot, probably. Like, it's even debatable that we should be working these at all with this tile and this tile available to be worked. Yeah, I think that's about all I have for this video. So, just to summarize, you want to lock in all your citizens on your best tiles, work your specialist slots, have enough workers to improve all your tiles so your yields are good for each citizen. And yeah, and be efficient with your worker movement. Alright.